Jesus, what's your favorite song? Like, out of all the songs you've done?
My favorite song, guys, Njani. I think maybe one that keeps surprising me in terms of how it interfaces with people's lives would be a song like Ubom Abumanga.
Oh, yeah.
Because we just had no clue, no Sanel at all, that it would have that kind of impact, and that, you know, the time that it came out in was also just like ironic and serendipitous. Like, we wouldn't have planned that. But Ubom Abumanga would come out during the time when everybody was in lockdown and life had essentially stopped, you know. And we finished that song just before lockdown, just before I went home, because I moved to the Eastern Cape again to be with my parents. And we had a different life now. You know, we had just left Joburg. And I actually finished, I think just because of the uncertainty, and I have small kids and I didn't want to be away from my family. Yeah. I didn't want to be too far away from my family when we didn't know what this new thing meant, you know? In fact, I finished the chorus in Namako. I recorded it like in the rural areas, in the lounge. I'd set up like, you know, a little sound card and my mic there. And when I left Joburg, we hadn't finished it. We didn't have a chorus. And we didn't even think the song was strong. Yeah. You know? And when I finished the chorus, I sent it back to Sanele, and it's his brother, Osandile, that said, don't sleep on the song, guys. Like, there's something here. Because we were just like, yeah, we need another session. You know, maybe we were just too nervous. But a part of that nervousness was that we knew we had something really special to say together, and we'd been avoiding a studio session for maybe a year, saying, okay, let's get together, but we just weren't getting it together. So that was the first one, yeah.
Jeez, man, I love that song, and I still don't know what you're saying in that song. You know, I find myself singing along because, you know, it just sounds good, bro. But I don't have no idea what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's the humbling part, like people's stories about how that song got them out of a rut or makes them see. Because I'm basically just saying that, you know, your gifts have not betrayed you. The things that have been placed inside of you will see the light type of thing. And it's kind of like you know, the first thing is almost like I'm talking to like an old friend. I'm saying it was a long time ago when you still had Ezonjongo, which are, you had those visions for yourself, you know, come to this side of the bridge. And I'm just saying like that, you know, we grew up together. We used to dream in the heavens, looking at the sun. Wow. Let me just remind you that life has not stopped, essentially. And so people come back with these stories about how, you know, it pulled them out of dark places. And those are the things that you don't anticipate when you think that you're just, you know.
Where do like those kind of lyrics and that messaging come from? Like, were you imagining an old friend Vele, or you just create them out of thin air?
Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna make me. I believe that I'm writing one song, so even, you know, if you examine the soul of that song, I don't think it's too far away from a song like "Fetch Your Life." I think that I have like an underlying thread and something that, in retrospect, I'm trying to communicate, whether I'm aware of it in the moment or not. Because, like I said, we were just, you know, kids in a music session, in a session that we thought our session was just going bad. But actually, when it links to the greater story of how, you know, both of us actually care to have a message, you know, Fetch Your Life is also saying, look, man, you know, it's really up to you to figure out why you're here, and the fact that you have dreams is not a mistake. Like, these are all clues about your existence and how you're meant to share love the easiest way on this earth. So those things can't be betrayed. They can't be put on the back burner just because circumstances don't allow. And so I feel like that's also a thread, and it's coming up in a lot of other songs of mine. Same song, you know? So I think my thread really is hope, even though I'm also meant to like to go away and lament and go to the painful parts. I really think that my real one song is just that like small song of hope, you know? Yeah.
Oh man, you're turning me on right now, man. You're sounding so sexy, man. Damn
oh my God.
You're right, because why?
Why do you switch them off?
You can't.
No, man, it's nice to talk to somebody.
You know, emergency button.
A female is not talking about champagne and fucking going to Dubai, you know what I mean? It's talking about real shit, dog.
Yeah.
Oh.
Even One Shushu Day Artistry, it's which was your label. I don't know if it's still active.
Oh my gosh,
it's a similar thing. The story of One Shushu Day.
I guess, okay, so I've been signed to myself since 2013, since the beginning of this for me. And my label and sort of creative entity was called One Shushu Day Artistry, which is a dreamer's statement of hope. It's like something I used to apparently say as a kid. That like, oh, one Shushu Day, I'm going to be a library. I'm going to be, you know, all the things that I was dreaming and manifesting for myself, I would, you know, they would be but the prefix would be that statement, Onshushude. So my first label, and it still is like the mother company of all the things that I do, but now I'm working through an entity that I call Alt Black Continua, and that's more of a social economic enterprise that's just a space holder and an enabler for my community and myself and my friends, especially in the like alternative live music. They are the most talented musicians in South Africa, but like one of the most under-supported. They're the ones that should be on tours. They're the ones behind all the mega stars. Is like all the bands usually will have like those incredible artists. The artists that there's probably one of these artists in their band as a musical director, or instrumentalist.
Okay.
Those are the kind of unsung heroes of the industry. Most of them have studied music. And it's not that there's a lack of ability to actualize and to make music, but it's just that because they end up being classified as niche and alternative, it's difficult for them to get their music out because, you have to kind of play in a mainstream platform to get the big funding, to get the record deals, to get the whatever. But it's just a way for me to sort of support that community that I come from and identify with as a folk musician.
So it kind of like reminds you of yourself.
It is myself.
Yeah.
But it's just like making sure they can record, they can tour, and release music. And
Is this the community you're talking about? Is it Eastern Cape? Or like?
No, it's all over. Like musicians are all over the place. And our big partner is Platoon. Platoon is our distributing partner, and Platoon is putting out MT's music, is putting out Aries, is putting out Zoe Muticha. Lots of artists. Sanal musician is working with Platoon. So they're like, that's my business partner.
Oh, dope, man. Jeez. So which one would you say was your first big hit? Because I was first got introduced to you by that song with Moby Dixon, Love Color Spin.
Love Color Spin.
Yeah. That's the first time I heard you.
That song changed my life. I wasn't planning on being a house vocalist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call myself a house vocalist, but I have such an affinity for electronic music now.
Dance,
I've really gotten into it in a way that that is genuine. Like I really want to carry on pursuing my writing in that space.
Because I know you didn't want to do the song with Moby Dixon.
No, I didn't. I was like, no, I'm just busy. I think I had like a show at a little theater, the Arts Theater in East London. It was around the time I was hustling and trying to show my parents, actually, this is why I started at home, because I could have just gone to Joburg.
Yeah, sure.
I'm going to be a musician, bye. But because we had just had the scare of like, I don't even want to call it a scare, but it was just like this mistrust of the industry because of things that were happening to people like Zahara and other stories that you were hearing. My parents were just like, can you not just do something else, But I tried to be at home, to have these shows, to organize this thing so they could see that it's not that scary. It's not, this life of being a musician or an artist is actually, it can be dignified and it's not that bad, And so staying close to home, I was trying to win them over still into my world, And it worked. They started coming to my shows. They started seeing that I could have a future, And part of that was also those small shows at the Arts Theatre. That was like a small little venue that took us seriously, gave us good sound, started allowing us to be more theatrical. You could go with a band. You'd be able to make some money at the door. And Moby started following me when I was putting on these shows in East London. And he came...
So he's from that side as well?
Yeah, he's from East London. We went to the same high school.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, he was Mabin Tuli in high school. Like really like... such an interesting character, like super reserved, but also like really sure of himself.
Yeah.
It was always been a sweetheart. And I remember him coming to my shows and being like, the girl, when are you coming to the studio? And I'm like, for what? And this one day, after that show at the Arts Theatre, he convinced me to go to his studio, which was like 15 minutes outside of town. And I literally had no time for it. I did one take. I was just like, listen, I'm trying to go home. I don't want my parents to think I'm out here twerking. I'm trying to go home now. And I just whipped out like a draft in my little tilili, those phones that have 20 messages.
Yeah.
I'd been writing something in the draft and I just whipped it out, freestyled this thing. Wow. Left it there. It hardly sounded like anything to me. Like I think I did like one take, did a take of ad-libs, one take of harmonies, and I was like,
peace.
30 minutes, I was gone. And Moby, testament to him and his production skills, put together this beautiful song, and I was just like,
whoa,
there's something here, And this song is the reason why Black Coffee hit me up. It's the reason why the Revolution Brothers actually hit me up first. I did a song with them next. That was my next house song with So Moby really did. I still perform that song at all my live in my live
Massive
shows,
song.
and people go insane.
Yeah,
they
it
love
was
it.
massive when that song
Yeah.
came out. Everybody was like, "Who's this?" You know what I mean? And how was it like working with Coffee?
Man,
'Cause
that
he's a
is
legend.
that
bro.
is that for me, that is also a profound part of my journey, because I met somebody who was equally obsessed with like the creative process. And I think between us, we probably sent that song "Wish You Were Here" to each other 31 times.
Gee.
And I also learned something about energy and creativity, where, you know, he would have just come off a show somewhere in LA or Ibiza or in Tulum, and we'll use that energy from stage to go and produce a little bit and get the song a bit further. I'd get updates at like 3 a.m. in the morning, 2:30, and probably next to Diplo, one of my favorite creative collaborations. He's up there with, like, Sanel has become someone that I really love working with. But my first two interactions, you know, my first interaction with Nando Budnati was just that, like, he's really committed to finding the soul of the song. And it wasn't even a matter of, maybe our 10th version could have sounded good and it was good enough to release. Maybe even the second one. But he just wasn't, he was just like, this can be better. And I remember the first 10 versions, the chorus was heavy. I had a lot of words in it. And he just kept saying, it's missing something. And he knew that it was more like taking away what was there. And he would update the beat, the bass line, and change something in the drums, and he would send me an update. He's like, this is how it feels now. And I would feel something else. I would change something else, because the conversation was just this ebb and flow, and the song grew really organically. But we knew that it wasn't done. And so we did sessions over, like, I did the first session in Hamburg, then I worked in it again in Berlin. I was like on this like Euro tour with my band, and I kept improving it here and there. And then the very last session I did was at Solistic in Joburg. And that's when I realized that, oh, the chorus needs to go away. I need to just break it down to one line. And he also alluded to that. He's like, maybe the chorus just needs to be, I wish you were here.
Eish.
It had a whole thing like that we didn't need, that was making the song heavy. And we only arrived to that on the last session. So testament to his, like, just, you know, the tenacity to go after the soul of the song. And I cherish that experience because it taught me a lot.
Jeez, that's wild, man. Have you heard that song, Penduka?
Yeah, no. Wish. Then you hum with the trumpets.
trumpets.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
used to play that song like massively, bro. Yeah.
First time I heard that song, I'm like, what is this?
Bro.
That's Robin Fassie-Cock playing the trumpet. He was in my band. He was on tour with me. And he recorded that part in Hamburg. He completely made that up. And that also formed part of the creative process. And if he wasn't open to that, I was like, okay, I'm taking my whole band to studio. You know, and he was just cool with stuff like that, because he's actually a musician.
Yeah.
So he gets it, you know.